cheat first, because this is what I would do. And then, so go ahead and lay on your back. She's going to use this band, lace it around her foot, and she's doing a beautiful first bend. So she's pretending to stretch her hamstring, and you're going to see this all the time from people. They have a slight bend of their leg. She's not stretching anything in her hamstring. If she has this limited of range, what she needs to do is press out, lower her leg, straighten it out, and get that nice stretch on the muscle, and then work to start bringing it in. And the way she wants to work is to contract that quad muscle to stabilize her hamstring in that stretch. So this is what you all are going to try with your bands today, I'm sure, while you're in sessions. You can play around, straighten out those legs. Because I got to tell you, we're watching huge amounts of flexibility walk out the door. People are not flexible, which is part of the reason we're seeing such an increase in injuries and in pain. So hamstring stretch, fabulous. Now, there are reasons to do stretching. There's range of motion, so obviously starting from here, she can increase her range of motion. She'll also increase strength, power, flexibility. Obviously, there are just huge reasons to be doing flexibility exercises. Awesome. The research right now is stating that you need to do 3 to 4 times a week, 40 minutes. Ideally, they say 3 to 4 times of an hour, but at a minimum, 3 times a week, 40 minutes a day of stretching. Now, how many people truly, unless you're doing yoga, and yoga is a totally different beast, but how many of us are doing that? You want to know what I do? I teach a group fitness class, and I am one of those people because in Group X, we've gone to the American thing. I want to get in, I want to get killed, let's kickbox an hour, let's lift a ball. We go nuts and go crazy, and then we go, oh, 5 minutes, quick, let's stretch our legs. Okay, that was done, now go and have a good time. How many people leaving that class stretch? Probably very few, unless they've read the research and then they're really stupid people. So, what we're going to do today is go through what you should be doing, because in group exercise classes, unless it's called a stretch and strength, people aren't coming. They don't want to come and stretch because they're like, I have an hour to lose weight and get fit. And they don't realize that part of fitness is flexibility. And that's what's going to keep us young and supple and keep those spines in line. So, here's the first step to flexibility. I was telling you about the athletes. They said, don't stretch. You can't do it because you're going to lose your strength, you're going to lose your power up to 2 hours after stretching. The research was showing athletes had a decrease in their strength and power. Well, then they started doing more research and they went, there are some caveats to that. And if you look in the notes I think I gave you, there are the caveats that basically pre-activity flexibility, they're in those bullets. So if you know any athletes, I'm sure some of you are doing your own Ironman, these are things you want to keep in mind. That pre-activity flexibility should be limited to active, isolated, and dynamic stretching. For some of you, I just spoke German, so let's go through what the different stretches are. What the heck is active isolated? Active isolated is where you basically take a movement, 1 to 2 second stretch, 1 to 2 second stretch. I'm actively isolating a particular muscle. Static stretching is what Annie demonstrated, where we had, or Anne, is it Anne? Annie, good. Okay, I didn't want to all of a sudden butcher her name here. So she was doing a static stretch, flexing that hamstring, holding it for 45 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. That's a static stretch. Active, 1 to 2. Then we get to dynamic. This is my all-time favorite. Picture an athlete, a tennis player, getting ready to do a game. They have to do some kind of, whoa, crazy excitement. Are you excited? I know. Yeah, they're doing something crazy to actively, dynamically start to stretch the muscle. It could be power lunges, doing all kinds of craziness. Now realize these are people that are athletes, so they're dynamically stretching for their particular sport. You'll see football players on the field. I think I've seen them at halftime when they play the music or whenever right before, doing something like plyometric jumps. Active, dynamic stretching, explosive movement through that muscle, okay? So there are your 4 types. Static, active, isolated, dynamic, and then, myofascial release.